few weeks now on my new motorcycle, and every time I start, I just can't get the right words out. Can't really talk too much about it. I just lose my train of thought. So I thought, well, I really want to share my experience with this motorcycle, mainly because it's new in Australia. I don't see too much information out here. In fact, I don't think there's any videos out there with the 700 MT by Cfmoto. There's been a few videos with the smaller motor, the 650 MT, the Cfmoto, which, you know, there's a few of them out on the market, but this is pretty much a new model. So I thought, well, I might as well make a video and share some of my experiences with the bike. And I've got to say, overall, look, it's a great bike overall. I'll just put that out there. But there are some limitations that I'll probably talk later on in the video about, but some shortcomings, but things I don't like, I should say. But overall, it is great. It's a great balanced bike, really nice to ride. It's pretty much, what would you call it, a sports tourer rather than an adventure bike. I mean, Cfmoto marketed as an adventure bike. I don't agree with that at all. I think it's more a sports tourer, and again, I'll talk about why I think that later on, because it's got some limitations that I really believe just don't allow it to be that. I mean, any bike can go off-road. Road bikes, dirt bikes, they can all go off-road. So you know, you can take the 700 off-road. That's not a problem, but it's not really. I wouldn't call that an adventure bike, especially when you're looking at the model above there, the 800 MT. That's pretty well established as well. That's been selling pretty well in Australia and overseas. You can look that up on the Cfmoto website. That's quite a good tourer, probably, you know, closer to the GS BMWs and that sort of style of bike. I'd say there that one is more an adventure bike, but this one here, I'd say no, it's a sports tourer. That's probably where I'd class it. So anyway, I didn't know where to start to make a video about this, and I thought I'd share my thoughts on just a couple of rides that I've done recently, and just explain some of my experiences with the bike, some things that are good, some things that are bad. I don't know if I'll get everything in on this particular video, but if I get time, I'll probably do a few more as well. So I'll put some more miles on the bike and see what other good and bad points we can dig up. But as you can see in the video, it handles really well. It's really well balanced. I've got to say, I'm very impressed with the balance. Now, just to give you an idea, I used to ride GPZ 900s, ZZR 1100s, and you know, and even the old Hondas back in the day, the old roller doors or bowl doors, the 900s, the old ex-police bikes. So, you know, you're coming with that sort of mindset, a big Jap 4 and instant power, and then after probably over a decade of not riding, I jump on something like this. So, you know, look, I am a lot older, I guess, and power is not the big issue. It's you know, comfort and you know, and enough power to get you in trouble or out of trouble. That's what you're sort of looking for. So how does the MT700 compare? I mean, it's a big twin cylinder 700 cc or 693 or whatever. Now, you know, although it's a Chinese brand that make these bikes, you know, the actual frame, I could swear it's a Kawasaki frame, because if you look at it, it's almost identical to the old the Versys 650 and the Vulcan 650 and even the old ER 6N, I think it was. Over a decade ago, I used to ride my son's Quacker, and I used to think that was the best balanced bike I ever rode back then, and I think this is pretty much in the same boat. Riding position is upright and comfortable. The bars are pretty wide, and it flicks really easy. When I say flicks, you can flick it into corners really easy. It rolls in and out quite good. But having said that, I don't know if I get a full shot of myself with the Insta360 that I've mounted on there. Upright position's great, but you can see I'm only about 5'8". The lower half of the seating position, or the pegs, it just seems like across all their models, you just seem like your legs are too bent for my liking. So after a while, it does get a bit tiring. Basically, if you can see, my legs are bent more like a sports bike than a sports tourer or adventure bike. and that can sort of be a bit of a put off if you're really doing really long distances. Like I've done a few rides since this video, so you do get used to it. I've got to say, I shouldn't be too critical because it is just a matter of finding your way with a new bike. But yeah, you can see my legs are pretty bent on the actual seating, but upright, very comfortable, good vision. The fairing does a reasonable job too, keeping the elements at bay. And also the bike, when I brought it, came with these little I wouldn't say bark busters, but you know what they are, the old they protect your hands there from the wind and the elements. There's no metal behind there, so you're not going to go bush bashing with it, but they do keep the elements at bay. And even you'll see later on, I'm in the rain, heavy rain. Even in this video you'll see the weather change dramatically, and I've got to say the fairing and those hand protectors are quite good. The other thing too, if you're looking to buy one of these, try and buy to a local dealer, because I'm out at Albury over in on the New South Wales border of Victoria and New South Wales, and I was going to buy this particular model from a Melbourne-based dealer, but I ended up cancelling the order. I actually put a deposit and then I cancelled the order, and I brought from a local dealer, which I found, I was surprised there was one in Albury, Buzz Bikes and Bits. Quite a nice guy actually. I was quite happy with, so far so good anyway, with the service. Yeah, it's always good to go local in case you have any problems or you need any accessories. Oh, look at that! You can see we're just going over the dirt on the road. That was quite nasty. That the local dealer, you know, is quite good. If you've got a good relationship with them, they tend to help you out. You know, I'm not getting sponsored by Buzz, but he did give me a great price on riding gear, and even threw a pair of boots in with the purchase. Now, when I brought the purchase too, you can tell the bike. When I purchased the bike, you can see the crash bars fitted around the bike. Now, that was a promo. I don't know if it's still going at the moment, by Cfmoto Australia, actually throwing in the crash bars, and I've got to say they work really well. I actually dropped the bike on my driveway, and you know, yeah, they work. They really come in handy. There was minimal damage on the bike, and I was actually quite surprised actually. So a bit of touch-up paint, and away we went. You couldn't even tell. So as you can see, it's a very comfortable bike. I haven't got too many bad things to say about it, but as you put a few miles on the bike, it's a bit like bedding in with your partner, I guess, because you're spending time on top of on the saddle, and you tend to find out all the weaknesses and problems. Now we're just turning into Grania now from Lake Hume. As I was saying, it's a bit of a bedding in process with your bike. Initially, when I brought it, I loved the looks of the bike. That was the big draw card for me. I love the colour. I love the whole new fairing, and it was just I thought a really sexy looking bike. Now, you know, silly me, I brought purely on. I think the main thing was the looks of the bike, which was okay, which was great at the time, but. You know, after a while, you sort of start to think, well, if you're older, you probably want to get something a bit more cruiser style or whatnot. But anyway, all the doubts aside, you'll certainly get used to the bike as you go along. The thing that I like about this particular bike as well is the braking on this is brilliant. It's got J-Juan brake calipers, which I'm told they're owned by Brembo, so they work really well. The brake system is fantastic. It's pulls you up on a short notice, really good. Now you can see here on the video, it's already started to rain. Well, and there's been rain here before, so all the foliage, the leaves and the twigs are all blown on the road, and a lot of dirt as well. So as we're coming into the twisty stuff, this is the town of Grania, by the way. So as we're coming into the road, the twisty parts of the road, you'll see it gets pretty dangerous. In fact, I had a few close calls, so I had to back right off as we're coming into this. Now, as I was saying, the braking is fantastic. The confidence you get. It's got ABS as well, which most modern bikes today have. I feel really, no stress at all with the braking on the bike. The balance on the bike too. The actual, you don't feel top heavy or back heavy. It just seems really well balanced. If I can, I don't know what the right wording is for that, but the weight distribution is really good. So yeah, so the thing that's probably a bit of a shortcoming is the rear brake. Now, this is one of the things I was going to talk about, which is probably not. It's not a bad brake. I mean, it's not a bad spring or shocker, but the suspension on the back is. It's just. I think it's probably not up to scratch in my book anyway. Now, when I got it from the factory, it was wound up, halfway, which was good. But it was a little bit too firm and too springy, so I backed off the spring, and that was a nightmare to get to. Actually, the access to the back spring is a nightmare. It's practically, you got to pull the whole thing apart, all the panels and bits and pieces. So I didn't like that at all. So I backed off the spring and then lifted up the damping a bit, just to try and soften just to make the ride a bit more easier on myself, being a shorter rider as well. Which helped. It did help quite a fair bit. But I just find that spring, I don't know if it's the spring, it just seems a little bit weak, It'd be better if it was just an upgraded spring and you could leave it, not as wound up, if that makes sense. Now, past this red car, if you're watching, from that point on pretty much, the road just became so slippery. Look at that, you can see how slippery all the leaves just seem to be stuck to the road and very slippery, very dangerous. Now, speaking of slippery roads, the tyres that come with this it's called CST brand. It's a Chinese company again, and I was actually really impressed with these. From this video, I've done quite a fair bit of mileage and probably double the mileage since the video, and I've got to say I had no issues with them. Really good. I've never heard of the brand, but really good. The profile on them is really easy to maneuver the bike, and also the just the stickability on them. If you warm them up, and you'll see on some of my other videos as I put them up. I did do a ride to Mitta and also to Jindabyne, which I got back today. What's today? The 22nd, I think it is. 22nd of January. I just got in today from a big ride down to Jindabyne, Lake Jindabyne. So I'm back at Albury today. And I've got to say the tyres were fantastic. I didn't miss a beat. Really good. The didn't feel any issues there at all. The tyres with the brakes work really well. Front suspension, it works really well. It's just got a preload adjustment at the front, which you can, if you want to play around with. But I've found from the factory setting it's been fine. I haven't had to touch it at all. So front end's really good. Now, going back to the back suspension, most modern adventure bikes have got travel 100 mil to 200 mil, so you got a bit of a range. So if you do hit a bump in the road, the chances are the bike's going to be able to absorb it a lot better. Whereas this particular back suspension, the spring has 45 mil travel, which is nothing. It's peanuts, and then it's got what is it, like a polish, what do you call those rubbers that like a bump stop basically on the shocker, on the shaft. So in this ride you won't see any of that coming into play, but I can assure you, when I went to Jindabyne, when I went down there a few days ago, I hit a massive pothole, and it actually just bucked me right off the bike. It jarred my back so badly, it was really bad. Now, a better shocker and a bit more travel would have absorbed it a lot better, so I wouldn't have had that issue. So yeah, I wasn't really impressed with that. But look, 9 times out of 10, you'll never ever experience that sort of situation. I'm 120 kilos, so that doesn't help either. So, if you're a lighter person, you may not, if you're under 100 kilos, you might not have an issue with it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me being a bit too heavy But yeah, that was a big no-no for me. I didn't like that at all. The only other dislikes I could say, the behind the fairing, just under the perspex, there's a plastic cowling, like a plastic cover that pretty much shades the TFT screen, which it just seems to have come loose, and I don't know that it itself has come loose as such, but on its own. But I think as the bike's bedding in, everything's sort of falling, twisting and turning or whatever. It just seems like there's been a lot more. It's not really held down properly. It's not screwed down properly. It's only got 2 screws on it, and it seems to sort of worked its way loose. So basically, when you're riding, it gives you a bit of a vibration, a light vibration. It's not dangerous or anything like that. It's more annoying if you've got like a camera out the front of the bike, or even it can get annoying to you. So now what I've done is since then I've actually just put a rag in between the plastic and the perspex. Now I'm going to take it in for a service. I've done like my first service, so it's done well over 1,500 k's. So I've got to take it in. I've booked it in today, and I'll get them to have a look at it. But that's one thing I don't like about it. Now there's only pretty much two things, and the other third thing is the seat height. It's not really an adventure bike. The seat height doesn't have to be 840 mil high. I think it's too high for what it is, this bike. I would have really loved the foot pegs and the seating arrangement to be a little bit more comfortable. I don't know if they can look at that, but I think if the suspension at the rear is improved and the seating position is a little bit less intense, whether they lower the provide some sort of adjustment to lower the foot pegs, I think that'll be good. That'll be a big improvement on the bike. But like today, I did almost 300 kilometres from Jindabyne to Albury, and I was okay. I wasn't too bad. So again, as I said, it might be if you're a lighter rider, you mightn't suffer the same way I do. So overall, the bike's really good. Really happy with it. You can see here it's getting it's really wet on the road. They've had rain and they've had a lot of leaves stick to the road, which you probably wouldn't think much of, but it's just like because of the water, all the foliage is just stuck to the road. So when you cross over it and you're bent over or cranked over, you're finished. And that happened to me a couple of times where I hit a twig or a leaf, and because normally on a dry day it wouldn't affect you as much. Okay, it might just get a bit of a bump in the road, but if it's wet with a whole heap of slippery stuff, it could just that could be the end of you. So yeah, just take it nice and easy there. Sorry guys, I'm just having a bit of water. But yeah, look, I'm not making a formal video here. I'm just chatting as I'm watching the ride and thinking of all the things that why would you buy this bike? If I was selling this bike to someone, why would you buy this bike? Well, number one, I've got to say it's full of technology. The TFT screen on this particular bike is really nice. It's a 5-inch TFT screen. All information on there, very easy to display. It connects to your phone by when you've got a cable that plugs into a what's it called, a charge adapter. So it's 12 volts, whatever it is. It's got great technology. It's got great braking, enough power. So I think it's 55 kilowatts for the 700, which doesn't seem like much compared to some of the bigger bikes, but I think it's heaps. It's torquey, the engine. It's very smooth delivery. It's not peaky at all. The power delivery is really good, and look, at the end of the day, look, if you want to be a rev head and kill yourself, go ahead. But if you want to enjoy motorcycling, something like this is really great. It's a good balance of power and handling, and it's a practical bike. And the other thing too, it's a great value. I actually paid 10,200 Australian dollars. When was it? Later in 23, I think it was end of October or start of November when I purchased the bike, and they came with the crash bars, a 3-year warranty. So it's a no-brainer. The The motor, I would say it's a Kawasaki. I'm tempted to say it's a Kawasaki motor and gearbox because just the feel of it reminds me of my old GPZ 900. To be honest with you, even the links and the lever are almost identical to my old Kawasaki's. So I don't think you're getting Chinese-made parts. I think you're getting a lot of Japanese technology in this particular machine. I know the 800 has a KTM derived motor. I think it's the old KTM 790, but I'm certain this particular package is the frame and the gearbox and the motor. Like, don't quote me on this, but I would be betting my shoelaces that this bike is pretty much a Kawasaki in the heart of it. Now, I've ridden Kawasaki's most of my life anyway, so it was just instantly when I started clicking the gears, you could, it's not a smooth gearbox like a Honda or something like that. It's a clunky gearbox, and it just reminds me of the old GPZ and even the ZZR 1100 to a point. So they worked really well. If this thing is as good as that or close to that, I'll be happy. But yeah, overall, yeah, it's great value. Pricing's excellent. Brakes are excellent. Handling's excellent. And although I talked about the rear shock, look, 99% of the time you wouldn't notice what I'm talking about, and I wouldn't say that it's a bad. I mean, look, later on, if there's more like accessories and suspension kits and all that later on, you could always replace it if you really wanted to, which in my case, being a new bike, there's nothing out there for accessories, so that's a bit of a bummer. But anyway, as time goes on, I'm sure we'll get more accessories and aftermarket bits for them. So I wouldn't mind upgrading the back suspension. But yeah, overall, great handling, more than enough performance. The motor just it's like a little tractor. It just keeps pulling. You can get yourself in trouble. It it keeps up with the bigger bikes. I mean, sure, you're not going to keep up with if they're flying, but you certainly won't be embarrassed. You won't be far behind. So now, what else is there on the plus? Tyres, it's a good combination. I think they're 17 inches front and back. I think it's got a 120 at the front and a 160 at the back. So no dramas there. The only other thing too is it's only got a side stand, which is a nuisance. I had to go and get a race stand so I can lift the bike up and chain, like lube the chain. That's another thing which is a bit of a negative, but a lot of bikes are doing that now. They've only got the side stand. So yeah, overall, really happy. Really happy. So you can see now it's getting wetter, but things are going to take an even worse turn in a second. So look at that. Yeah. So if you've watched this far and you're looking at buying one of these bikes, yeah, I'd recommend it. I think you can't go wrong. I think price, handling, performance. If you're looking for a super fast bike, well then of course get a 4-cylinder Jap bike or bigger bike. But yeah, I think it's a great little bike. It's the weight on it wet is 218 kilos. So I'm assuming it's going to be about 200 kilos or just under dry. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good. I would really hope that Cfmoto can certainly do something with a comfort thing as well. Just as I said earlier, I don't want to repeat myself, but yeah, I think this bike's going to be a winner for a lot of reasons. So 2024, I think is what they've pretty much put this model in there. It wasn't in any of the previous catalogs, or it's only just been released recently. So yeah. That's my thoughts. If you've got any comments or any questions, feel free to jot them down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Or if anyone else has had any experiences with these bikes, any bad points or good points, let us know. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I'll just take a breather for now.